Yeah, Mike will turn it off. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Poet's House. My name is Maria Elisa Schmidt, but people also call me Marie, and I'm an Access Service Associate here at Poet's House. Thank you so much for joining us to celebrate the release of Dear Letters in the Red Box, the most recent book from one of our beloved community members, Sarah Stern. Thank you. For those of you who may be new to the space, Poets House is a non-profit poetry library that is free and open to the public, with dedicated public programming, exhibitions, and special collection spaces. We have one of the most comprehensive independent poetry collections available to the public. Our library includes over 80,000 volumes of poetry, and we host readings, workshops, and youth programs. Tonight, I'm thrilled to welcome Sarah Stern, who'll read poems from her new book, Dear Letters in the Red Box. After the reading, we'll have books for sale and a reception on the second floor of the library, where Sarah will be signing books. So without anything further, I'll introduce our reader and cherished member of our community, Sarah Stern. Yes. Sarah Stern is the author of We Have Been Lucky in the Midst of Misfortune, Kelsay Books 2018, But Today is Different, Whip and Stock Publishers 2014, and Another Word for Love by Finishing Line Press 2011. She's a 6-time winner of the Bronx Council on the Arts Brio Poetry Award, a recipient of 2 Pushcart Prize nominations, and several Poets and Writers readings and workshop grants. Stern is an educator at Poets House. She's taught poetry workshops at Poets House, writingworkshops.com, Off-Campus Writers Workshop, the Marlene Mayerson JCC Manhattan, the New York Public Library, Hostos Community College, the Bronx Zoo, Edgar Allan Poe Visitor Center, and privately. Stern is the founder of CDGS Solutions, a communications and marketing consultancy. She's worked at universities, cultural centers, and think tanks. She graduated from Barnard College and Columbia University's Graduate School of Journalism. Please welcome Sarah to the stage.
Thank you, Maria. That's a beautiful name. Thank you all for being here. I'm so moved and grateful that you are all here, and I want to give you a sense of the book. There are 54 poems in the book. I'm not going to read all of them. But I'll start with the first poem. So in constructing and thinking about the book, as so many great poets are in this room, you know how it is to assemble a book, and it's very difficult. They rebel. But I always knew that this would be the first poem in the book, and I hope that it gives you a sense of my mother, and a little bit of me, and the themes of the book. It's called Soup. It's a mixture of things, and it's. I was thinking about when you make a soup, there are some ingredients, but the broth is already made. So I think about that, and I thought about that as the title, in the idea of soup. Soup. She hung laundry in the backyard the way she did many things. There was sadness in the inquiry, but also a fiery freedom. Like, yes, we're still here, you bastards. And the bastards were any number of beings across time. The bras and sweatpants, her flowered dresses, her husband's work shirts, the socks she darned. All the pieces in the sun somehow brought the sea and shells and what we started to remember. I can tell by the way he enjoys his soup with his shirt off that this is a man who stops at nothing for pleasure. I'm across the street on the opposite fire escape, thinking about pleasure. How we're all vessels, porcelain bowls, ornate, sweet, and savory. The traffic below humming along on the avenue, the soup, the shirt, the vertical light across the afternoon. The first thing he says to the cow each morning is, "Hi, honey, how was your evening?" Trudy looks back at him, lifting her head. Her face is black with a wide white blaze that drops down her nose, reminding him that he is a small creature. How do we let our bodies dance? Like this, she said. We don't let anything. It happens. The swing of it in the middle. I wish I could let go, not realize I'm moving like water. It knows nothing of itself. Shadow, too, across the stairs. It knows nothing of its long lines that move ahead of us. Thank you, thank you. I have my poems and my notes, and so I wrote this next poem several winters ago, but it feels particularly fitting somehow this winter. Flesh. The moon sliver last night reminded me of nothing but winter. Each season we are bears, but our hides are no match, so we layer thick, howling like wolves. We're really not an orange with its peel, but a plum, a purple plum in summer, easily marred. My heart is a moon plum. Henry Hudson Parkway, the dark trees fly by in our car, catching us in mid-sentence. The sleet makes its own noise against the windshield. We listen, the wonder of its flesh. Small fire for a new year. Thank you. I teach. One of the classes I teach is about forms, and I better start. What is it? Preaching doing what you teach, right? What is it? Teaching what you. Yes. I'm messing up that statement. Practice while you preach. Thank you. So I have wonderful poets here, and they know the haibun. So for people who don't know what the haibun is, so it's made of two parts, and the first part is a prose poem, and the second part is a haiku. And I thought that was a great form for the process of looking through my mother's letters and what that process was like, and really the basis of what I think of as the scaffolding of the book. So it's haibun for Mom's papers. Over a year of reading them, taking notes, now I go through my own. Perhaps the arc of a life is just that, and mother is mother in her love, rage, disappointments, and pride. I'm interested in how I respond to her writings, but I can't know yet. I have to wait and see what her tomatoes and arugula do to me. The Osage tree, the green man, Mrs. Adler bloom, Oma's time. Her poems dissolve me like sugar in water. Her bluntness struck me as a child, but now I can name it. I think what she wanted most was to be in the world without impediment, to see the light fall through the forest, to swim, yes, 8 laps, her Chaim, a dream. I love you, Mommy. I see you in the garden. still a mystery. Um, so the beginning poems that I'm reading are about my mom, and then we'll go on to other topics. But this one, my mom wore clip-on earrings. She never had her ears pierced, and so after she passed, I wanted to wear her earrings, and so this is what I did. Her clip-ons. Wind through pines, first sounds and sights you never forget. Or farmer's cheese. Mom loved it, and I remembered that years later at Stop and Shop. She would spread it on bread and enjoy it with coffee. Still in a rectangular package. When she told me she didn't want to live anymore, I said, "How about for me?" She said she'd had enough. There was nothing left of her except the flat light that came through the old house windows. I keep thinking about enough, the deep me somewhere, and how things take on their own lightness. I wake up with what she left me, her deep, her clip-on earrings. I turn to posts. They go through me now. Dear Letters in the Red Box is also a poem in the book. And I wanted the poem to be a kind of letter to the love letters, but also to convey that the letters are dear to me. And so the poem, if you see it in the book, so the snippets are on the right side from the letters, and my interruptions are on the left. So if you see it in the book. And my parents eloped, and they united in Paris after they eloped a few months later. Dear Letters in the Red Box. What do I do with you, thin and fading? Their marriage, September 1946. Soon after, Dad off to the Sorbonne for medical school, Mom joining him that December. Dad's Paris. The leaves outside my window are the colors of autumn. It makes my heart feel sad and glad at the same time. Schatzele, I love you so much it hurts. Or this. I love you like Uncle Carl loved Jenny. Or this, today there was an array of sunshine, Parisian winter weather. Oh yes, there was. When I looked at your photo, comrade, you light up my room. I am well, eat like a professional wrestler, sleep like a newborn babe, but I'm terribly lonesome for you. I gave my first intravenous injection. Maybe snippets are never enough. I saw you there so clearly, always. Thank you. So, moving away a little bit from my mom, my brother Jonathan is here. And we had a cousin Hetty, and so whenever Jonathan and I speak and we want to summon strength, we call upon Hetty, and so this is called Current Parties with Hetty. Current the berry. Hetty slapped horses and children. Fear spread across her face only during lightning, but when she entered her garden, gentleness. Her large hands plucked the currants from their twisted stems. She let them roll from her palm into a tin bucket. Speaking the Black Forest dialect, she worked on her knees, my mother beside her. I felt strangely included in those talks. The words were incomprehensible but familiar. The language lulled me. I was at a tea party in a foreign land. After the ripe ones were gathered, Hetty rose methodically, bending from the waist, letting her arms hang, stretching her strong back until the blood rushed to her face and she straightened to meet my gaze. She was smiling with the bucket full. Thank you. You're a wonderful audience. I appreciate that. I really do. So this next poem, getting back to the forms again. What is the saying? Practice what you preach. So I said I've got to get my act together. So this is called palindrome, and many of you know that. So what happens in the palindrome is you have the first stanza and then the second repeats in the reverse order. And I thought it was a good form for during COVID with, the repetition. Palindrome. I didn't choose to stand next to you. My body brought me there. I rode to you on a current of, what do we call it? I don't know. But there we were next to each other in the crowd, and the people listening to us whisper about the food and wine we wished we had brought with us. All of it appeared somehow, and we shared it with everyone in our midst. I can't explain the joy. I can't explain the joy. It appeared somehow, and we shared it with everyone in our midst. There we were next to each other in the crowd, and the people listening to us whisper about the food and wine we wished we had brought with us. I rode to you on a current of, what do we call it? I don't know. My body brought me there. I didn't choose to stand next to you. Thank you. We are going to go back to my mom a little bit. What they say, you always are writing the same poem over and over again. Joan is. In going through my papers, I found, and I knew about it, the German passport with the J on it. It's So this is called Pale Blue. I can't go through all my mother's papers, but I have to. Her German passport with the large J on it, her eyes pale blue, the gray trees of winter, and that silver blue before sunset. She's in the blue diminishing. The horror of J rides through me. She loved geology, and me, a little girl, somewhere out there, fading in the sound of her voice. Thank you, thank you. So another, time of COVID, are we really over it? No. And so this is called Venice. I will remember how these days overlapped into weeks, months gathering until the new year. Love and loss, to write of them is really a luxury. I didn't know it then. Look for the lines that soothe, to live in a strange factory of words and trees. A couple asleep in a gondola, leaning into each other, their mouths open in Venice. It's supposed to be funny. How vulgar in these years of plenty and not plenty, my life too. Guilt, grudges, ugliness, the turning inward. My dark heart, I hear you. So switching gears a little bit. So my husband is here, and he's in the back. And this And then my parents, their love letter. So this is a little bit of a love poem, and it's a funny title for a love poem, Worms. The afternoon comes in on itself, all bright desire to love you, like we used to before the fall, before the unraveling. The nest remains in winter trees. Stay put in this mad weather. The intimate weaving, the busyness. The silver strands from somewhere else flicker in the sun, wound tight in the old beds. The birds recycle without crusade or fanfare. They know it already, desperately. I want to live inside their abandoned places, wait for the worms, your beak in mine. Thank you. Wow, so a lot of holidays. So yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. And then there's the Ramadan's ending tomorrow, right? Yeah. And then Passover. Passover is coming in April 1st. Yeah. So this is going back to my family's history, and this is a story that I tell on I don't tell it, but it comes to me every year. It's called the Passover story. Elijah comes late at night to my parents' house, putting his old lips to the edge of the silver cup my grandfather won when he fought for the Germans in World War I. The cup has tiny trophies molded to its side. Each year it comes out of the cabinet. Your grandfather Julius was a good fighter, my mother says. Looking at his photograph, his shaven head, I try to imagine. I think of Julius and Clara. He is the cup, firm, ornate, filled with wine. She's the crystal bowl that comes out too this time of year. The top comes off easily like a hat. It catches light when it's empty. Tonight she's filled with salt and sits by a glass of water. Thank you. Thank you. This next one is about a diver, but I think I was thinking about, the dream state, and I hope that comes through. It's called Mackerel. The fish circled the diver who tried to stay in the middle of the whirring that moved with his thoughts, as though the fish, the water, the leaked light, he himself were all one, a melding that he had never experienced until then or since, a revelation that years later would come back to him only in parts. Sometimes the mass of mackerel, or the salt on his lips, or the floating in wizard blue. Then he'd wake up gasping for air back on land. Thank you. Thank you. And my daughter is here. and we were lucky. Go to the national parks while we still can. And we were lucky we all got to go to Rocky Mountain National Park two summers ago. This is called Colorado Corridor Trails. We hike from lake to lake, nymph, dream, emerald, Hayawa. Each a different shade of blue, almost green. The speckled trout swim near. Who makes such beauty? At 9,000 feet, I'm lightheaded, headachy, as though my brain has tilted in its casing. I think of separations that sculpted the Rockies by glacial episodes. And here we are with our water bottles. Our daughter far ahead in this light that streams down like manna. The 4 elk already lying on the high grass. preparing for the night, watching us as though we were some tiny stars that just fell just then for them. My body no longer mine in the bevy of aspen trees, dark eyes on their green bark. They stare at us. Maybe it was the thin air, or the rainbow on the fish, or the large pupils running down along the tree flanks. But I said out loud, "I'm sorry." The elk raised their heads, and we turned down the mountain. Thank you, thank you. And this is the last poem, almost the last poem in the book, and it's maybe a political poem, and it takes place in D.C. I mean, I didn't think about it that it was a political poem, but it feels like a political poem now. The Mall. Sometimes the mall at the broccoli, sorry. Sometimes the broccoli at the market is enough. Or the way the light falls right through the trees, a perfect line that startles you, then it shifts. In D.C. last weekend, there was a sign on the mall that said, "Everything is temporary." I took comfort in it. The carousel, too. I walked closer and saw the painted horses and the mirrors that reflected us. I wanted to recite everything that I know while I rode a horse, but instead I bought a pretzel. I sat on a bench with my mustard and salt, watching the children circling, their parents waving, shouting at them to hold tight. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wanted to just open it up for comments, questions, anything before we go upstairs.
When do you write? Do you write in the morning?
Well, sorry? Oh, the question is from my Aunt Diana. When do I write? And, the truth is that there are some people in here who are in a writing group that we meet every month. And so that's my deadline that no matter what, I have to have something. So that's my goal, to have something. It can be in very beginnings, but that's my goal, to have something to bring to that group. But sometimes I write more than that. I know there are people here that write every morning. Unfortunately, I'm not that person. I strive for that, but yeah, it doesn't. I think that's great. People can do that. It's unusual. I mean, but people do that. But I like to have a few things in different stages. Something new, something I'm going back to many times. Yeah. Anything? David.
Yeah. Obviously inspired by like your trip to the Rockies. An hour later. Just to remind you when you are writing, or is it something you recall a few days later?
Well, I don't. That's a great question. I take a picture. Yeah, and sometimes I write, but it's not very romantic, I mean, you're sitting at your desk, I mean, maybe some people here run off and write, but that's usually not what happens. I take a picture, and then come back to it later. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because your writing is very visual.
Oh, sorry. Diana was. Oh, no. Go ahead. G is in our group. Great poet. Coming out with a book soon. Yes. Yes. But what was your question?
No, my question was it hard to find the right sequence?
Yes, it was.
You go through many versions.
Many versions. I thought of the poems that were about the things my mother, the writings that I was responding to, and the love letters between from my dad to my mom as the scaffolding. But there are actually not that many of them. But I thought of that as the connector, and I wanted them to. I wanted the poems of the present time to resonate with those. But it was hard to figure the order. I put them out on my floor a lot. And
How was it to find the right sequence?
oh yeah, well, I was thinking about all the great people that would be here, and and I do think about that when I for a reading. Yeah. Yeah, and also I think I like to give context for the poem, but not too much. It's a balance, so I think about that also. Yeah, yeah, yes, and
Sarah, when do you know when a poem
done. That is the what? Oh, okay. The question is, when do you know when a poem is done? I wish it were like cake, done. What is that famous saying? You never finish a poem, you abandon it. Yeah. But, I mean, I think that you do have to say, this is all that I can do for this poem. Because I think when you say that, you make space for something new. Right? And some poems are never done, and they sit there, and maybe in like 5 years you go back to them. Yeah. Does that yeah, I mean, and very famous people, they're reading their poems from their books and they're editing them, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not that famous. Yes, my. Oh, have people hear that? Finding love letters from your parents, and they're very formal. And someone answered. Julia, my sister-in-law. Go ahead. Yeah. Ah. Oh, and Lauren. Oh, wow. They were formal. Well, it's interesting. Sorry? Long distance. Oh, okay. Oh. Flowery. Yeah. No. Wow. Very interesting. But it was interesting with the letters from my dad to my mom were, nice script, but then later letters from not letters, but writings from my mother. They were on the back of a, she was saving paper, so it was like on the back of a Tucson garage oil, get your oil changed. And then on the back of it were notes about their trip. So it's interesting to see that evolve, much less formal. Scribbles. Yes.
So your mother apparently was a poet?
Yes.
How did she influence you? How much and how and what way?
Oh, I'm comfortable. So Nava asked me if my mom was a poet and how that influenced me. So yes, she was a poet, and some of those titles in the Haibun are titles of her poems. And I wrote my first poem with her when I was 12. I had to come up with something for the 8th grade yearbook. And so she said, let's write a poem. And that's how it started. That's how all this started. Thanks, Mom. Yeah. Well, thank you. So come upstairs, and there's wine and cheese and crackers and more things and books and all kinds of fun time. Yeah. Thank you.